champions, hope you are doing good and welcome to this mock analysis session of RC and I hope कि आपके 45 plus definitely आपने score किए होंगे इस mock में. Coming to our very first passage, burnout is a major problem for corporate culture in nations such as America, Britain today, particularly in caregiving professions, nurses, home health aides, teachers, nannies and many others in similar professions. ठीक है, हमें शुरुआत में ही पढ़ के समझ में आ रहा है कि author is saying that burnout के बारे में है about whom, about nurses, right? Home health aides, teachers, nannies and many others in similar professions face the prospects for caring for their own mental health while still caring for themselves, right? However, burnout is not a new concept. Victorian era illustrates burnout in one specific context, the life of governess. Charlotte Bronte, right? Now, this governess is a woman employed to teach children in a private household, right? Governess is a woman employed to teach a child in a household, and Charlotte Bronte, who is a writer, is one of the Victorian author who intently focused on the plight of governesses in her novels. Her novel Villette is a prime example of the burnout, the exertion that happened in the field because of its intimate descriptions of life of governess Lucy Snow, who is the narrator of novel. Lucy's life, which involved numerous caretaking professions, is rife with tragedy. Rife with tragedy is like sad and full of tragedy, right? So in the very first paragraph, सिर्फ इतनी बात हुई है कि how this burnout in caregiving is not a modern problem. कब से Victorian era से चला आ रहा है, right? And it has been described in the Victorian era and is powerfully shown through Lucy in the novel Villette, right? Now, previous criticism of Villette has centered on the concept of burnout and trauma as experienced by Victorian female caregivers. However, little has been said about the implications of studying these women on how female caregivers can prevent these conditions on their own lives. So, although Villette was same thing has been said. By no means will this path to self-care be exhaustive, but it will illustrate the condition that cause female caregivers to experience burnout. Women is helping professions are arguably more susceptible to burnout than men because many women also engage in unpaid emotional labor, right? Whether this labor is a result of friendship or maternal duties. Right? Examining the governess as presented in Villette will provide a context through which to understand how emotional labor can lead to trauma for female caregivers both past and present. तो in these lines author क्या बता रही हैं कि जो caring jobs हैं, right? इसमें women suffer more than men because they often perform emotional work for free, चाहे वो family को support करना हो, friends को support करना हो. And by studying this novel Villette, हम समझ सकते हैं कि कैसे emotional labor causes long term psychological harm to women both in past and today, in present, right? Villette was published in 1853. But the bulk of criticism about the novel, including criticism regarding the mental health of its protagonist, did not emerge until over a century later. ठीक है, तो 1853 में publish होने के बाद critics ने इसको seriously लिया ही नहीं, right? Its psychological theme until much later. Most writing on Villette in 1980s was limited to book reviews, while feminism, religion, narrative silences, and Bronte's capability as an author, read if you haven't read her, right? Author were the popular topics of academic articles on Villette in the 1990s. However, 21st century criticism on Villette contains discussions on women's rights as well as on the mental health of Lucy Snow and the Victorian caregiver, right? So, 1990 में scholars focused on feminism, religion, narrative gaps. तो Bronte का जो skill है as a writer, तब वहाँ पे जाके acknowledge हुआ. And only in 21st century did critics begin examining Lucy, right, and the Victorian caregiver. Now, Villette is said by many critics to be an autobiographical novel, right? कि क्यों? ड्यू टू पैरेलल्स बिटवीन द लाइफ इवेंट्स ऑफ चार्लेट ब्रॉन्टे एंड लूसी स्नो. उनको ऐसा लगता है कि बिकॉज शी who were both caregivers, so Charlotte Bronte was also a caregiver. That's why this particular novel has autobiographical touch. In her article, Meera Jagannathan terms a novel that draws from the author's life as autofiction. What is autofiction? Fictional writing rooted in personal experiences. Right? Jagannathan notes that exploration of Bronte's trauma through Villette could be termed as aesthetic of wounding. Now, what is aesthetic of wounding? Like artistic expression shaped by personal pain. Artistic or aesthetic expression based on personal pain, right? Which she described as process by which personal trauma is sublimated in the writing. ठीक है? What is sublimated? Like redirected into another form of writing. Personal trauma reveals the validity, mourned and eventually overcome. Right? An examination of Bronte's personal trauma reveals the validity of Jagannathan's statement. So, in the last line, author is saying that modern criticism views Villette as a partly autobiographical work, जहाँ पे Bronte transforms personal trauma into literature, into aesthetic of wounding. Right? Coming to question number 1, in Charlotte Bronte's Villette, which aspect of Lucy Snowy's experience best illustrates a form of burnout specific to Victorian governesses. ठीक है? Her open rebellion against all employers and refusal to work? नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं. Governors could not afford rebellion, isn't it? Her reliance on frequent holidays and leisure travel to recover from stress. Holidays worsens Lucy's mental state. Solitude intensifies depression. So this is opposite of recovery. ठीक है? Her complete isolation from any kind of caregiving or emotional responsibility. ये भी बिल्कुल नहीं हो सकता, isn't it? Because Lucy is never free from emotional responsibility. Her problem is overload. मतलब बात पैसेज किस बारे में है? About burnout. तो ये तीनों ही नहीं हो सकते. ठीक है? Her constant self-suppression while managing students, colleagues and employers' expectation. And yes, the correct answer is D, because it focuses on constant self-suppression while managing everything around. So this matches with like क्या Victorians, governesses reality, right? Low status, no authority, constant emotional restraint. And जो passage का idea है कि जो burnout comes from emotional labor and suppressed needs, not rebellions, right? So D is the correct answer, right? Coming on to the next question. The passage implies that Lucy Snow experiences exemplify burnout due to, ठीक है, her success in overcoming tragedy through self-care. कहीं भी नहीं लिखा है. Passage does not show Lucy's overcoming burnout through self-care, right? Intimate portrayals of tragedy in multiple caretaking roles. Yes, B is the correct answer. क्यों? क्योंकि Lucy holds multiple caretaking roles. साफ साफ लिखा है. Her life is described as rife with tragedy. Remember? Rife with tragedy. ऐसा डिस्क्रिप्शन है. एंड बर्नआउट इज शोन थ्रू इंटीमेट डिपिक्शन ऑफ सफरिंग. सो येस, बी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. लैक ऑफ पैरेलल्स विद ब्रॉन्टेज ओन लाइफ, जस्ट ऑपोजिट. साफ साफ लिखा ऑटोबायोग्राफिकल टच है. एक्सक्लूसिव फोकस ऑन पेड वर्सेस अनपेड लेबर डिस्टिंक्शन. नो, पेड वर्सेस अनपेड लेबर इज मेंशन नॉट एज द सेंट्रल कॉज ऑफ लूसीज बर्नआउट, राइट? Next question. Primary purpose of the passage is to analyze the evolution of literary criticism on Villette and link it to modern caregiver burnout prevention. And yes, A is the correct answer. Why? Because passage traces how criticism of Villette evolved. Criticism के बारे में कि पहले तो लोगों ने ध्यान भी नहीं दिया इस पे, right? Year after it was published, and uses that evolution to connect Victorian burnout to modern caregiver burnout. So purpose क्या है? Completely analytical है, applied है, purely literal नहीं है, right? So yes, A is the correct answer. Critique the historical accuracy of Bronte's depiction of governess life in Victorian England? No, the passage does not question historical accuracy at all. Argue that burnout is uniquely Victorian phenomena, irrelevant to contemporary professions. यहाँ पे गड़बड़ हो गया. साफ साफ पैसेज में कह रहा है कि Victorian burnouts links to modern professions, right? तो ये भी गलत हो गया. Provide a biographical overview of Charlotte Bronte career as novelist. No, Bronte's biography is secondary and supportive. It is not the focus or primary purpose, isn't it? Next question. The phrase aesthetic of wounding as used in the passage most nearly means a deliberate literary technique to inflict emotional pain on readers. क्यों गलत है ये? Because it focuses on reader का pain, जबकि बात क्या है? ऑथर की हीलिंग. बात क्या होनी चाहिए? ऑथर की हीलिंग. हमारा ऑप्शन किस बारे में बात कर रहा है? रीडर के पेन के बारे में बात कर रहा है. Academic critique focusing on physical injuries. Physical injuries again, it is misreading wounding literally, right? The transformation of personal trauma into art for catharsis and resolution, and yes, C is the correct answer, right? Trauma, ये साफ साफ लिखा है ना हमारे पैसेज में. Trauma is sublimated into writing. It is mourned. It is eventually overcome. Right? Making C the correct answer. The glorification of suffering as a noble virtue in Victorian literature. Now the passage treats suffering as a problem, not a virtue. Right? Problem है according to passage, virtue नहीं है. इसलिए D incorrect है. Next question. It can be inferred from the passage that author's view on studying Victorian governesses is largely retrospective with minimal relevance to preventing modern burnout. No, it is directly contradicting the passage's stated goal. इसलिए A incorrect. Essential for contextualizing emotional labor's role in caregiver trauma across eras, and yes, B is the correct answer. क्यों? Because the passage explicitly says studying governesses help understand emotional labor. Right, and applies to both past and present caregivers, making B the correct answer. Overly focused on literary analysis at the expense of practical self-care advice. Now the passage admits limits but stresses practical relevance, इसलिए C incorrect है. Dismissive of 20th century criticism in favor of biographical parallels. Now the author values criticism history rather than dismissing it, right? इसलिए D B incorrect है. Next question. क्या फिगर ऑफ स्पीच है किसमें? इन द फ्रेज एस्थेटिक ऑफ वुंडिंग डिस्क्राइबिंग ब्रॉन्टेस ट्रॉमा एक्सप्लोरेशन इन विलेट. आई होप सबसे बहुत सही तरीके से बन गया होगा कि क्या ये पर्सोनिफिकेशन है? नहीं है. कोई ह्यूमन क्वालिटीज तो मुझे नहीं दिख रही. इज इट अ सिमिली? बताओ. इज एन एस्थेटिक ऑफ वुंडिंग? नो. इज इट अ मेटाफोर? देखो क्या इक्वेशन हो रहा है एस्थेटिक ऑफ वुंडिंग. यस, ट्रॉमा को किससे इक्वेट कर रहा है? वुंडिंग से. ट्रॉमा वुंड विदाउट यूजिंग लाइक और एज, राइट? कोई लाइक एज नहीं, कोई एग्जैजरेशन नहीं, कोई ह्यूमन ट्रेट नहीं है. तो क्या हुआ हमारा आंसर? राइट, एग्जैजरेशन भी नहीं है तो डी भी नहीं होगा. चलिए नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. Which rephrase sentence best keeps the meaning of rife as used in the original sentence? Lucy's snow life, which involves numerous caretaking professions, is rife with tragedy. ठीक है, rife मतलब filled, saturated, pervasive. ठीक है. Lucy's snow life is lightly. No, it minimizes the tragedy. Lightly बोल करके. Lucy's snow life is predicted. No, shift meanings to prediction. Incorrect. Lucy's snow is briefly interrupted. Briefly interrupted, it reduces tragedy to single tragic event, right? Making it incorrect. Yes, D is correct answer because life is saturated with tragic experience, devastated, like pervasive. Snowy's life is saturated with, like, it preserves. Option D is preserving the meaning of the word, right? Next passage. Joseph Steen, the architect of much loved buildings in New Delhi such as Triveni Kala Sangam and India International Center, maintained an abiding respect for ecology. As an apprentice architect working in his office on design of India Habitat Center, I accompanied him for visits to the building site. The torrid heat of June, torrid heat, extremely hot, right? Torrid heat of June amplified through the windows of now extinct yellow and black taxis that ferried us to the construction zone. He carefully paced his walk to each tree, Neem, Arjun, Jamun. He dutifully recorded in his notebook their distance from the edges of proposed building, taking a measure of their canopies and the accompanying arc of shade. Canopies like the spread of branches and leaves of trees, right? So in the very first paragraph, author is saying this Joseph Steen believed that architecture must respect tree and nature, and he practiced this belief carefully on site, right? In conversation over those summer months, he illuminated an essential truth: building designed for people remains incomplete without garden, and that any architectural act is bereft without any engagement with landscape. So this lesson in placemaking anchors the India Habitat Center as an urban catalyst. Its coast and plaza are shaded from the sun and cooled by the breeze, a melding of foliage and facade. So in these lines, he is saying that this shows that Steen planned buildings for first understanding the natural surrounding instead of destroying them, right? And during their conversation, Joseph Steen taught an important idea. क्या कि building is meant for people is incomplete without a garden. कि अगर complete building बनी है लोगों के लिए तो वो एक garden के बिना incomplete है, right? Building has shaded open space, natural cooling, wind, balance between plants and structure, so it feels welcoming and comfortable. And this way of building, blending nature and architecture, is seen in great public places worldwide. It reaffirms the beauty of building with garden, hallmark of beloved public places in cities across the globe. In the past few months, Delhi's residents and visitors from across the globe have supported under such place the Humayun's tomb site museum, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, right? So author is saying that good architecture, good building must have a good garden. As the architect of this project, working with a client team consisting of Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Tourism and Aga Khan Trust of Culture, we envisioned this project as an urban node, a link between historic site of Humayun's tomb, the restored landscape of Sundar Nursery and the vitality of Nizamuddin Basti. The late Aga Khan, Prince Karim, entrusted us with the mandate to design a building that linked the past with our present, unify the natural and build the environment and facilitate the understanding of our built heritage. So author is saying that good architecture must unite building, garden, history, past with present, right? And people to create meaningful public spaces, right? Organized in two distinct and interlinked zones, the entrance plaza and subterranean galleries. What is subterranean? Like underground galleries. The Humayun's tomb site museum is anchored by a red sandstone building adjacent to Sundar Nursery. ठीक है. Entrance plaza, situated beneath the foliage of mature trees, offers a range of amenities, cafe, restaurant, gallery, right? Geometry manifested a cosmic order for the Mughals. The arrangement of carefully proportioned spaces imposing a discipline for construction, for inhabitation, fusion of form with the refinement of craft. Plaster, stone surfaces adorned with texture, very vivid description, isn't it? Illuminated by light filtered through stone screens is characteristic of architecture of Humayun's tomb. So, museum का यहाँ पर design का description है, it combines Mughal geometry, craftsmanship and nature to create a calm and meaningful space, right? So, overall this passage shows कि जो great architecture है, it is just not building but a blend of past, present, history, present and nature, right, to give a meaningful space. Next question. Which of the following reinforces the passage's central idea that gardens complete architecture? Evidence of increased footfall at Sundar Nursery post museum opening, and yes, A is the correct answer. Q. अगर पैसेज में क्या बोला गया कि बिल्डिंग्स फील कंप्लीट व्हेन दे आर कनेक्टेड विद गार्डन एंड नेचर, राइट। उन्होंने बोला कि बिल्डिंग्स फील कंप्लीट व्हेन दे आर कनेक्टेड विद गार्डन एंड नेचर, ऐसा बोला, राइट। अब इफ मोर पीपल आर विजिटिंग सुंदर नर्सरी, राइट, आफ्टर द म्यूजियम ओपन, इट शोड दैट मिक्स ऑफ आर्किटेक्चर, कि अगर हमने आर्किटेक्चर को और लैंडस्केप को मिला दिया, अगर हमने आर्किटेक्चर को और लैंडस्केप को मिला दिया, तो इट इज मेकिंग द प्लेस more attractive and lively for people, right? So this is directly supporting the main idea of the passage, right? कि नर्सरी पोस्ट म्यूजियम अगर ओपन हुई है, इन तो फुटफॉल बढ़ चुका है, लोगों का आना बढ़ चुका है, राइट। हिस्टोरिकल रिकॉर्ड शोइंग मुगल टूम्स विदाउट शेडेड कोर्ट्स, ये तो कॉन्ट्रडिक्ट कर रहा है, राइट। पैसेज इज प्रेजिंग मुगल बिल्डिंग्स फॉर देयर शेडेड स्पेसेस, गार्डन एंड हार्मनी विद नेचर, ये बोल देना दैट कोई शेडेड कोड नहीं है, तो इट विल गो अगेंस्ट व्हाट द ऑथर इज सेइंग, राइट। अर्बन हिल आइलैंड डेटा फ्रॉम अनशेडेड दिल्ली प्लाजा, नाउ ये क्यों गलत है, बिकॉज इट इज टॉक अबाउट प्लेसेस विदाउट गार्डन, राइट। हमारा स्टेटमेंट क्या है कि फोकस इज पैसेज इज फोकसिंग ऑन गार्डन इम्प्रूव्स बिल्डिंग, गार्डन से बिल्डिंग इम्प्रूव होती है, ये नहीं बताना है कि हाउ बैड प्लेसेस आर विदाउट गार्डन, जो ऑलरेडी बुरा है वो कैसे गार्डन के बिना है वो नहीं, इसलिए सी इज इनकरेक्ट। बजट ओवररन्स ड्यू टू लैंडस्केप इंटीग्रेशन, नाउ इट इज ऑल्सो रॉन्ग बिकॉज इट फोकसेस ऑन मनी नॉट मीनिंग, what is the main focus of our passage, right? Next question. What does the museum's subterranean galleries and entrance plaza beneath foliage exemplify? A difference of Mughal cosmology over ecological integration? No. Why A is wrong? Because Mughal cosmology and ecology work together in the passage, right? Not over, right? इसलिए it is incorrect. Steen's principle of melding built and natural environment, yes, B is the correct answer. These features reduce heat, preserve trees, merge landscape with structure, right? So this directly reflects Steen's philosophy of integrating nature with architecture. A prioritization of commercial amenities like cafe, again C is mentioned, but it is not prioritized, right? Disconnection from Nizamuddin Basti's vitality, now explicitly contradicted. The museum connects to Nizamuddin Basti's vitality, right? Next question. The passages transition from Steen's legacy to the Humayun's tomb museum via an analogy linking personal apprenticeship experience to institutional mandates, and हाँ बिल्कुल सही है हमारा A option। क्यों? क्योंकि जो हमारा पैसेज है it moves from personal lesson learned under Steen, right, to institutional mandate given by Aga Khan, institutional mandate given by Aga Khan। एक पर्सनल लर्निंग है, एक इंस्टीट्यूशनल मैंडेट है, तो इट इज एनोलॉजी लिंकिंग पर्सनल अप्रेंटिसशिप एक्सपीरियंसेस सो इंस्टीट्यूशनल मैंडेट्स, यस बिल्कुल सही है। क्रोनोलॉजिकल नैरेटिव, no timeline or chronological history has been mentioned, making B incorrect. A critique of Mughal geometry irrelevance, again Mughal geometry is praised, not irrelevant or criticized, right? Empirical data on recent visitors endorsement from Delhi's resident worldwide, now D visitor endorsement appears later and does not form the transition, right? इसलिए D भी गलत है। Next question. Steen's notebook measurements of trees primarily underscore his belief that architecture must prioritize structural efficiency over aesthetic harmony. नहीं, he focuses on comfort and harmony but not efficiency alone, right? इसलिए गलत है। Subordinate natural elements to human constructs, now opposite of truth, nature is not subordinate, right? Integrate ecological features as intrinsic to functional design, and yes, C is the correct answer क्योंकि trees are part of design logic. Ecological is functional, not decorative, right? इसलिए C बिल्कुल सही आंसर है. Mimic natural forms through geometric abstraction. No abstraction or imitation is involved. Irrelevant. The dominant tone of the passage regarding Joseph Steen's influence can best be described as nostalgic. Is it nostalgic? Yes. Language is personal. Language is warm. Right? It is reflective. So admiration for his meticulous ecological integration in urban design, and yes, A is the correct answer. अगर हम डिटैच्ड बोले तो बिल्कुल भी नहीं है. इमोशनली इन्वॉल्व है टोन, राइट. आयरॉनिक क्रिटिक ऑफ हिज आउटडेटेड एम्फेसिस ऑन ट्रीज ऑफ अ मॉडर्न कंस्ट्रक्शन. नो आयरनी और क्रिटिक इज प्रेजेंट, राइट. एम्पिरिकल प्रेज फॉर अ क्वांटिफाइबल इम्पैक्ट्स लाइक शेडेड प्लाजाज और विजिटर मेट्रिक्स. नो डेटा driven praise is mentioned in the passage, making D incorrect. Next question. Fill in the blanks with appropriate article used so that the sentence becomes contextually correct. ठीक है. And a building designed for, ठीक है. So the sentence is, answer is C. Why? Because देखो यहाँ पे पूरा का पूरा एक general, it is testing the article usage in general philosophical statement. Right? इसलिए देखो, a building designed for people remains incomplete without a garden. एक हम इन जनरल किसी भी बिल्डिंग की बात कर रहे हैं, इसलिए हमने अ बिल्डिंग लिखा है, अ गार्डन लिखा है. अब यहाँ पे कॉन्सोनेंट वाउल के हिसाब से हमने डिटर्मिनर्स रखे. दैट एनी आर्किटेक्चरल एक्ट इज बिरेफ्ड विदाउट, क्योंकि यहाँ एंगेजमेंट है इसलिए एन आ गया, विद द लैंडस्केप. राइट. लैंडस्केप क्यों? बिकॉज नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट स्पेसिफिक. वाई द? बिकॉज वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट specific surrounding environment, right? That's why the, right? Next question. Figure of speech. Which of the following, which figure of speech is displayed in the phrase building with a garden? From the sentence, a generous and welcoming arena for gathering, it reaffirms the beauty of building. A generous and welcoming arena for gatherings, it reaffirms the beauty of building with a garden, a hallmark of beloved public space in a cities across the globe. So, यहाँ पे क्या alliteration है? Is there any repetition? कोई हमें repetition of sound नहीं मिल रहा है, इसलिए repetition of initial sound, no. एपोजिशन. एपोजिशन क्या होता है? जब दो नाउन फ्रेज, राइट, साइड बाय साइड प्लेस किए जाते हैं, राइट, जहां पे सेकेंड वन एक्सप्लेन्स द फर्स्ट वन. राइट. or renames the first one, you can test, like you can this, that is called apposition, right? तो यहाँ पे apposition है because building with a garden. या फिर यहाँ पे देखो किसकी बात कर रहे हैं, किसको describe कर रहे हैं? two noun phrases, the beauty of building with a garden, a hallmark of beloved public spaces. Both are describing building, right? और building with a garden की अगर हम बात करें तो building and garden, two nouns, right? सो ये हो गया हमारा एपोजिशन. पर्सोनिफिकेशन, कोई भी ह्यूमन ट्रेड नहीं है. मेटाफर, नो कंपैरिजन बिटवीन टू अनलाइक एंटिटीज, इसलिए मेटाफर भी यहाँ पे नहीं है, राइट. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. विच पार्ट ऑफ गिवन सेंटेंस फ्रॉम द पैसेज हैज अ ग्रामेटिकल एरर? द लेट आगा खान प्रिंस करीम इंटरेस्टेड अस विद, ठीक है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. A mandate to design a building that linked the past with our present. That linked नहीं, that linked the past with our present, like linked breaks that parallelism, it should be linked not linked, right? Unify the natural and the built environment and facilitate an understanding of our built heritage. A, C, D do not have any grammatical error, B has, so the correct answer is B. Coming on to next passage. Countries and international institutions are increasingly focused on adaptation to climate change in light of rising temperature, longer term droughts, severe flooding and other impacts. Currently, however, financing for adaptation activities is insufficient to meet needs. Moreover, analysis of climate finance indicates that an important system of services and infrastructure is overlooked. क्या बोल रहा है कि important system of services and infrastructure को overlook किया जा रहा है. It almost national and global assessment of climate adaptation finance किसको किया जा रहा है? केयर को. किसको ओवरलुक किया जा रहा है? केयर को. ठीक है. इन अ क्लाइमेट एडेप्टेशन कॉन्टेक्स्ट इन्वेस्टिंग इन कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव केयर सर्विसेज इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इंटेलिंग, जिसमें केयर में क्या क्या आती है? चाइल्ड केयर, एजुकेशन, हेल्थ केयर, लॉन्ग टर्म केयर, कैन स्ट्रेंथन प्रिपेयर्डनेस एंड रिस्पॉन्स एफर्ट्स टू वेरियस क्लाइमेट हैजार्ड्स. तो ऑथर क्या बोल रहा है कि अगर हम अपने हेल्थ केयर मतलब केयर सिस्टम में अगर ज़्यादा इन्वेस्ट करें तो वो हमारी सोसाइटी को और ज़्यादा प्रिपेयर बनाता है ताकि क्लाइमेट डिजास्टर्स के टाइम पे ज़्यादा अच्छे से सोसाइटी रिस्पॉन्ड कर सके. राइट. यूनिवर्सल कवरेज थ्रू अफोर्डेबल, एक्सेसिबल एंड हाई क्वालिटी सर्विसेज एंड डिसेंट जॉब्स फॉर केयर वर्क फोर्स कैन हेल्प बिल्ड द रेजिलियंस ऑफ फैमिलीज एंड कम्युनिटीज़. ऑथर क्या कह रहा है कि अगर हम केयर सर्विसेज को अफोर्डेबल बना दें, एक्सेसिबल बना दें, अच्छी क्वालिटी का बना दें, फैमिलीज़ और कम्युनिटीज़ को और ज़्यादा रेजिलियंट बना दें. राइट. While some initiatives include education and healthcare in climate adaptation planning, sectors such as early childhood care, education and long-term care remain largely overlooked or absent. This paper aims to address the gap by proposing a methodological framework for integrating ECCE and LTC into climate adaptation planning and finance, recognizing their critical role in building inclusive and resilient communities. So, author is saying कि जो climate adaptation planning है वो care service को पूरी तरीके से ignore करता है, even though अगर हम इसमें invest करें जैसे child care और long term care में, इससे हमारी जो resilience power है वो काफ़ी strengthen होगी. Next, this is an inextricable link. Inextricable is something that is impossible to separate, right? There is an inextricable link between the global care crisis and the climate crisis, both of which constitute compounding, interlocking emergencies. Comprehensive care services, infrastructure, policy objective, independent of climate crisis, contributes to building resilience to climate change as it supports the well-being and functioning of individual and communities before, during and after climate shocks. ऑथर क्या बोल रहे हैं कि जो क्राइसिस केयर और क्लाइमेट क्राइसिस है दे आर क्लोजली कनेक्टेड एंड एक दूसरे को और ज़्यादा खराब बना देते हैं. राइट. अगर इवन दो केयर सिस्टम आर इम्पॉर्टेंट ऑन देयर ओन, दे ऑल्सो हेल्प पीपल डील विद क्लाइमेट डिजास्टर्स. Care services support people health daily functioning before, during and after climate emergencies or shocks. फिर आगे क्या बोल रहा है वो कि जो केयर फोकस क्लाइमेट स्ट्रैटेजीज हैं ये हमको दोनों पेड और अनपेड केयर गिवर्स को they prepare for climate related problems, and when care services exist, vulnerable people such as children, elderly individual, people with disabilities and those with long term illness are better protected from health risk during climate change. तो अगर हम prepared रहेंगे और care sector में ज़्यादा अच्छे से invest करेंगे तो जो vulnerable sector है वो भी उनकी जो दिक्कतें हैं वो भी हम we can reduce the exposure to health risk, right? Now families in turn can rely to structured support rather than bearing the burden alone. Moreover, investing in public care provision can relieve those who provide unpaid care. So now author is saying कि जो families who benefit from care services, जो लेते हैं इन सब services का जो who opt for these services, right, and do not have to manage everything alone, public care system reduce the burden on unpaid caregivers, right? So especially women, and allow them to take paid jobs and become financially stronger who provide unpaid care, allowing them to engage in paid work. जो अभी वो बिना पैसे कर रहे थे उसका they are getting paid for it and improve their financial resilience. Paid care workers in turn benefit from better working condition and training to respond to emergencies, further strengthening social preparedness. In short, well-functioning formal care services infrastructure can be viewed as climate adaptation strategy, one that builds long-term resilience by protecting health, reducing social vulnerabilities, and strengthening communities' capacity to face and recover from climate hazard. So in final line author क्या बोल रहा है वो, that public care system को अगर हम strengthen करते हैं तो family, worker, community सब strengthened होते हैं, making them better prepared for climate emergency, right? What is the author's primary argument in the passage? Climate adaptation finance should focus primarily on technological innovation. Option A. क्या बोल रहा है ये गलत है, because passage does not argue for technological innovation as the primary focus, rather it criticizes the neglect of care, right? इसलिए A incorrect है. Public investment in care sectors yield better social outcomes but have little link to climate hazard. B is also incorrect because साफ passages linking care investment to climate hazards, right? So this is opposite. Care infrastructure is essential for building resilience in climate change. Yes, C is the correct answer. यही बात तो पैसा साफ reinforce कर रहा है कि child care, health care और long term care, right? These are essential for climate resilience, not optional extra, right? The care economy is separate from climate adaptation concern. Now, the passage repeatedly stresses that care and climate adaptations are interconnected, right? तो ये भी incorrect, separate नहीं है, interconnected है. Next question. Which of the following most accurately captures the relationship between the care crisis and the climate crisis as described in the passage? ठीक है, they are mutually exclusive emergencies requiring separate responses. It directly contradicts the interlocking, isn't it? Separate responses, no. The care crisis is a symptom of climate crisis? No, the care crisis exists independently, not merely as a symptom, right? Oversimplifies. They reinforce each other, forming interlocking global challenges, and yes, C is the correct answer. Each crisis worsens the other. यही बात तो हमारे passage में लिखी हुई है, right? Each crisis worsens the other. The care crisis is resolved once climate adaptation is achieved. No, the passage never suggests one crisis ends automatically with other, right? So D is irrelevant. Next question. The author uses the phrase comprehensive care services infrastructure primarily to highlight a moral duty of governments to safeguard valuable groups. Again, moral duty is implied but not as the primary purpose, right? So A is incorrect. Describe a foundational system that supports well-being during climate shocks, and yes, B is the correct answer because the phrase describes a system that supports well-being before, during and after climate shocks, right? साफ हमारे पैसेज में यही बात लिखी हुई है, बिफोर, ड्यूरिंग एंड आफ्टर, राइट? सजेस्ट दैट फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इज नॉट नेसेसरी फॉर एडेप्टेशन. नो, सी इज इनकरेक्ट बिकॉज फिजिकल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर इज नॉट डिसमिस्ड. Emphasize privatization for social services to promote economic growth. Incorrect because the passage argues for public universal care, not privatization, right? Next question. Which of the following can be inferred from the passage? Current climate finance mechanism undervalue non-physical forms of resilience, and yes, A is the correct answer. क्यों? क्योंकि जो climate finance है that overlook, it logically means जो non-physical resilience है, social system या जो care work है, right? It is undervalued, right? So this inference follows directly from the argument. The inclusion of care services in adaptation frameworks would reduce economic efficiency. No, B is the opposite of passages instead, right? Investing in early childhood education has no direct link to climate resilience. C is again directly contradicted from the passage. Care work should remain unpaid for sustainable adaptation. Again, passage supports paid formal care, not unpaid one. तो ये भी कॉन्ट्रडिक्टरी है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन, what does the author imply about the gender dimension of climate adaptation? Paid work has no role in empowering women economically. ठीक है. So direct contradiction from the passage. Gender issues are irrelevant in discussion about. No, gender is clearly relevant. Again, contradictory, opposite. Male dominance in climate policy weakens care oriented strategies. Again, male dominance is not discussed at all, right? Irrelevant. Women are the primary beneficiaries of care centered adaptation because it reduces unpaid care burdens. And yes, यही बात हमारे पैसेज में कही गई है कि unpaid जो care है, unpaid care burdens are reduced. Caregivers can enter paid work, right? So this strongly implies women benefit most since they do most unpaid care work, right? Next question. What can be inferred about the current focus of climate finance mechanism? They allocate significant resources to early childhood care and long term care. Directly बिल्कुल opposite है हमारे जो भी passage में लिखा हुआ है, right? नहीं allocate करते significant resource. They prioritize care services equally alongside infrastructure project. फिर equality तो exist ही नहीं कर रही, यही तो problem है. They overlook social sectors while emphasizing environmental and physical investment. And yes, यही तो सही बात है कि they focus on so much on environmental and physical infrastructure that they neglect care and social sectors. They rely on private contribution for building community resilience. Like private finance is not focused here, right? Next question. Which of the following is the contextual meaning of the underlying word in the given sentence? There is an inseparable link between global care crisis and the climate crisis, both of which constitute compounding interlocking emergencies. अगर easily separated है तो irrelevant है, sorry opposite है, not irrelevant, opposite है. Loosely entangled, right? It is also weakening the strength of the link. Impossible to disentangle, यही तो है inseparable का मतलब, right? जो बिल्कुल अलग अलग ना किया जा सके. Temporary linked again suggests temporary connection which contradicts the passage. Which of the following is the tone displayed in the second paragraph of the passage? Is it pessimistic? No. It emphasizes improvement, not pessimistic, right? Neutral? Not neutral. The language advocates, the language supports, right? Optimistic? हाँ बिल्कुल बोल सकते हैं. क्यों? क्योंकि it focuses on solution, right? It focuses to highlight the benefits, right? And stresses resilience and preparedness. इसलिए optimistic है. Sarcastic क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि कोई भी irony या mockery बिल्कुल नहीं है. Next question, next passage. The return of widespread hunger leading to the rise of food banks was perhaps the single most corrosive consequence of austerity. 20 years ago, it would have been hard to imagine large-scale food. What is austerity? Austerity is a government cuts, right, to public spending. कि हम इस सेक्टर से कटौती करके हम पैसे बचा लेते हैं, ठीक है. Was single most corrosive consequence of austerity. 20 years ago, it would have been hard to imagine large-scale food handouts becoming normalized to the extent that they have been. The latest figure showed that 4.5 million children in UK were defined as living in poverty in the year of April 2024, as an increase of 1 lakh on the year before, with Scotland and the only part of UK that is predicted to buck the trend over the parliament. Buck the trend yani go to the opposite trend over the parliament. The cap which restricts the child link element of universal credit to families' first 2 children is not the only reason for the shameful decline. कि शुरू के ही 2 बच्चों को सारा बेनिफिट मिलेगा is not the only reason for this decline in the poorest households' living standards, but its removal would lift around 500,000 children out of poverty straight away. अगर इसको हटा देते हैं तो इतने सारे लोगों का भला हो जाएगा. एज अ डिस्कशन होस्टेड बाय चाइल्ड पॉवर्टी एक्शन ग्रुप एट लेबर्स कॉन्फ्रेंस ऑन मंडे, the message to newly appointed Minister for Early Years Education, Olivia, could not have been clearer. Hurry up. Right? So, ऑथर क्या बता रहे हैं कि रिसेंट डेटा में बताया कि 4.5 मिलियन चिल्ड्रन यूके में गरीबी में जी रहे हैं, जो कि पिछले साल से और ज़्यादा बढ़ गए हैं. और स्कॉटलैंड एक इकलौता ऐसा एरिया जहाँ पे इम्प्रूवमेंट की गुंजाइश है करंट पार्लियामेंट्री टर्म की वजह से. एंड ऑथर इज डिस्कसिंग वन मेजर कॉज ऑफ दिस पॉवर्टी इज़ द 2 चाइल्ड लिमिट की 2 ही बच्चे, राइट. और अगर उससे ज़्यादा होंगे तो उसको बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा. और अगर ये जो लिमिट है ये उठ जाती है, राइट, तो more than 5 lakh children will be out of this poverty. At a Labour Party conference event, campaigners strongly urged the new Minister for Early Years Education, and Olivia Wiley said, act up, like hurry up, act quickly, right? Now, so far the government effort to help the poorest children have mainly involved additional services, new breakfast clubs, Best Start program, modeled on New Labour's Sure Start, though on a far smaller scale, and increased eligibility for free school meals. So the government has tried to help poor children mainly by adding services कि free breakfast दे दिया है ना, Best Start program, या expanding free school meals. But welcome as such initiative are the underlying problem is income, dismayingly like causing disappointment or concern. Dismayingly, if not surprisingly, given this government pass form, it appears that rather than simply scrapping the 2 child limit, Rachel Reeves is considering a range of options including a taper. So what is taper? A gradual reduction rather than a complete stop. So she is planning a gradual reduction so that subsequent children would qualify for benefit payments at lower rate. Pressure from backbenchers. Who are these backbenchers? MPs without any senior government role, right? Backbenchers and from outside parliament will have to be kept up if she is to be persuaded to get rid of it altogether. So author is saying कि extra services मदद तो कर रही हैं, लेकिन बिना इनकम बढ़ाए या 2 चाइल्ड का लिमिट रिमूव किए बिना चाइल्ड पॉवर्टी विल कंटिन्यू, राइट. And she and her colleagues should also look beyond the single totemic policy. What is totemic policy? That symbolizes a wider ideology. Child poverty rightly enjoys special status among campaigners, but it must not be seen in isolation. The 2 child limit has part of suite of Tory anti-welfare policies, including overall benefit cap and the cap on housing payments, which means that families relying on benefits for rent are priced out of more prosperous areas. So author is saying that 2 child limit is important, but it is not the only problem. So child poverty है should not be treated separately from wider poverty. जो 2 child limit was part of a larger set of welfare cuts introduced by previous conservative government, right? And these policies force poor families out of better off areas, right? तो ऐसी problem से deal करने के लिए more than one policy is needed, right? This is what has been suggested by author. Leaders like Angela, other policies besides uncapping payment will be needed to address the problem entrenched poverty. As Angela and Burnham have argued, more social housing is essential both to make families more secure and reduce the power of landlords to set prices. But while lifting the 2 child limit must not be viewed as an end point, it would be a significant both in itself and as a signal of progressive intent. It should have happened already. So author is saying that Angela and this Andy argue that building more social housing is necessary to provide security for families and reduce landlords' power to raise rent, right? And even though removing the 2-child limit is not complete solution, it would still be powerful and meaningful step. And author ends up by saying that it should have been done long ago. अभी तक ये हो जाना चाहिए था, right? So this particular passage was about child poverty in UK. वो और ज़्यादा खराब हो गई है, वर्सन हो गई है due to austerity and welfare cuts. चलिए next question. Which statement best captures the overall tone of the passage? Detached and analytical? नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं, because language is emotionally charged, right? Optimistic about ongoing government effort? No, the author is not optimistic. Government efforts are described as insufficient. आखिरी लाइन में क्या बोल रहा है? अभी तक ये चीज़ हो जानी चाहिए थी, right? Critical and urgent in calling for structural reforms. बिल्कुल critical. क्यों? Because it is criticizing austerity and welfare cuts, right? It repeatedly urges urgent action like hurry up, should have happened already. It calls for structural reforms like removing the 2-child limit and expanding social housing, right? So it is critical and urgent. Neutral and descriptive? बिल्कुल नहीं, because statistics are used but only to support criticism, not a neutral description at all. Next question. What is implied by describing the removal of 2-child limit as a signal of progressive intent? It would merely act as a symbolic gesture. Yes, it would. Incorrect है, because author explicitly says it is not merely symbolic. It would demonstrate a political commitment to tackling inequality. हाँ, ये सही है. B is correct. क्यों? Because it shows political calling removal a signal. मतलब क्या? It shows political commitment, right? And it indicates seriousness about tackling inequality. So the author treats the policy as both symbolic and practical, right? So B is the correct answer. It would have no impact on child poverty levels. गलत है, because passage states it would lift 5 lakh children out of poverty, right? It would contradict other welfare policies in effect. No contradiction with other policies is suggested, rather than it is said कि दूसरे policies की भी मदद लगेगी. Next question. Why does the author support expanding social housing according to passage to reduce landlord influence? Yes, explicitly stated in a passage, isn't it? To promote urban renewable programs? No, never discussed. C is opposite, and D, no mention of private sector competition, right? Irrelevant. Next question. Which broader argument does the author make by referencing the overall benefit cap and housing payment cap? The poverty can only be solved through tax cuts. Tax cuts are not mentioned. No, ऐसा नहीं, right? Poverty के solution में tax cuts, no. That these policies collectively entrench inequality, yes. By grouping 2-child limit and benefit cap, housing payment cap, the author shows these policies work together to entrench poverty, right? That housing shortage have little connection with poverty? बिल्कुल नहीं, बहुत highly connected है, isn't it? That Scotland's welfare system is a model for reform. Scotland is mentioned briefly, not endorsed as any model, right? So D is incorrect. Next question. What can be inferred about the author's view of programs like breakfast clubs and Best Start? They are essential in solving the root causes of poverty. It overstates the importance, right? So incorrect. They represent a waste of public funds when incomes are addressed. Now the author never calls them wasteful, right? They may improve immediate well-being but fail to address systemic income equality. हाँ, यही बात तो बार बार कही जा रही है. Welcome these programs. The author is welcoming these programs but says that they do not fix the root problem, low income, right? They are a substitute for removing welfare restriction, explicitly warned against treating them as substitutes, right? So D is incorrect. Next question. Why might the author view lifting the 2-child limit as insufficient if done in isolation? Because poverty rates are determined mainly by employment pattern. Nahi, employment patterns are not the focus. बिकॉज entrenched poverty stems from multiple interconnectedness, welfare restriction beyond. yes, यही बात तो कही गई है. पैसेज साफ साफ बोल रहा है कि poverty is caused by multiple welfare restrictions, right? housing policy, austerity as a system, right? तो so removing only one cap, अगर हम सिर्फ एक ही cap को हटाएंगे तो it will be insufficient. because housing policy has no role, नहीं, flatly contradicts the passage. because austerity measures affect only urban areas, now poverty is shown as nationwide, ऐसा नहीं है कि only urban areas. Next question. Which of the following sentences does not display the use of phrasal verb? ठीक है. The latest figures showed that 4.5 million children in UK were defined as living in poverty in the year of April 2024, an increase of 1 lakh on the year before, with Scotland the only part of UK that is predicted to buck the trend over this parliament. ठीक है, हमको बताना है किसमें नहीं है. तो ऑप्शन ए में हमें मिला buck the trend, right? जो कि है, it is an idiomatic verb particle which means to go against the general pattern, right? तो ए तो हमारा ऑप्शन नहीं है. But its removal would lift around 500,000 children out of poverty straight away. Lift out of poverty इसमें भी है, right? यानी to remove the hardship or to rescue, right? To lift out of. Pressure from backbenchers and from outside parliament will have to be kept up if she is to be persuaded to get rid of. Altogether to get rid of है, इसमें भी है, तो ये भी हमारा आंसर नहीं है. kept up भी है, get rid of भी है. But while lifting the 2-child limit must not be viewed as an end point, it would be a significant both in itself as a signal of progression intent. ठीक है, ऑप्शन डी हमारा सही आंसर है क्योंकि इसमें कोई भी फ्रेजल वर्ब नहीं है. यहाँ जो लिफ्टिंग इस्तेमाल लिफ्टिंग द 2 कंप्लीट जिरंड है ना, कोई भी वर्ब प्लस पार्टिकल का हमको वो नहीं मिला. So there is no phrasal verb or idiomatic expression present in this particular question, option, statement, sorry. Next passage. In his memoir, A Walk Up the Hill, Madhav Gadgil recounts a conversation with his father, the economist D.R. Gadgil, who had just returned from a deliberation on the Koina. Baba was normally a cheerful person, but when we had dinner together after the meeting on Koina, he was distraught. ठीक. So what is distraught? Extremely upset. Deliberation, form a deliberation. What is deliberation? Return from a deliberation, serious discussion, right? ठीक है. He said, I do believe that we need electricity to drive industrial progress, but surely we should not be paying environmental and social cost. This was 1956. To the planner of young nation, the often contradictory pools of ecology and economic development were not always apparent. His father's remarks left a deep impression on 14-year-old Madhav. Gadgil, who died on Thursday, built a career that stands as a testament to his commitment to balancing economic well-being with the protection of forest, wildlife, aquifers. Aquifers क्या है? Underground water sources. He was a rare scholar whose work is seen as synonymous with the discipline. So, on this, in the start, the key idea of this particular paragraph is a childhood experience shaped Gadgil's lifelong commitment to balancing development with environmental protection. Right? Born in 1942, a family steeped in public service. He was deeply influenced by reformist traditions of Maharashtra. His parents counted B.R. Ambedkar and Iravati Karve as their friends, and they inspired young Madhav to be argumentative. A stint as a research, what is stint? A short period of work, right? A stint as a research scholar in the US led to lively conversation with great biologists, sciences such as Wilson. Gadgil, however, gave up on an academic career in US to join the Indian Institute of Science, then headed by one of the country's finest institution builders, Satish Dhawan. The Center of Ecological Sciences, which he found at IISc, continues to set benchmark in environmental studies. So, अब यहाँ पे उनकी education की बात हो रही है कि how Gadgil's education and choices helped build India's strongest institution for ecological research, right? Gadgil was public intellectual in the most expansive sense of terms. One of his most influential contribution was the idea that country's forests are not pristine wilderness. What is pristine? Untouched, right? Land untouched by humans. So क्या कि contribution was the idea that country's forests are not, ऐसा नहीं है कि वहाँ पे बिल्कुल भी human touch होगा ही नहीं, but cultural landscape, right? Shaped over millennia, over decades by human management. तो forest क्या है? Not untouched by human, rather than cultural landscape shaped over decades, hundreds of years by human management. He argued that ecological degradation disproportionately harms the poor. The report of an environment ministry committee he headed on the Western Ghats made a powerful case of demarcating parts of the ecological fragile area. Demarcating yani clearly marking the boundaries, right? Demarcating parts of the ecological fragile area that needed to be protected against unregulated mining and tourism. He advocated greater participation of local bodies in the management of these areas, and the report was vehemently opposed and remains mostly on paper even after calamities have underscored this prescience. What is prescience? Ability to foresee future events, right? Prescience. At a time when ecological challenges are raising questions about India's developmental trajectory, Gadgil's scholarship is a reminder that inconvenient voices need to be heard and heeded, right? So Gadgil's idea challenged mainstream development thinking and remain crucial today. उन्होंने he led a government committee जिसमें कि वो वेस्टर्न घाट्स एंड रिकमेंडेड प्रोजेक्टिंग इकोलॉजिकली सेंसिटिव एरियाज को कुछ अनकंट्रोल्ड माइनिंग और टूरिज्म से. He also argued that local communities should be involved in managing these areas, right? So overall the key idea is कि his idea challenged mainstream development thinking and remain crucial today. Overall अगर हम central idea की बात करें पूरे passage की, तो Gadgil is a pioneering environmental thinker जिन्होंने अपने life और काम से consistently argued for balancing economic development with ecological protection. Economical development with ecological protection. Next question. Which best captures Gadgil's scholarly paradigm shift regarding forests? ठीक है. Recognizing human agency in their millennial law, yes, explicitly stated in passage, isn't it? उन्होंने बोला ना कि forests are not pristine wilderness, untouched wilderness, cultural landscape shaped by humans over thousands of years, over millennia, right? Viewing them as static reserves for wildlife protection, no, opposite of Gadgil's idea. He rejects static untouched forest model. C is also incorrect because he consistently criticizes industrial exploitation. D क्यों गलत है? Because he supports local participation, he is not dismissing it, rather than supporting it, right? Next question. If Ghats report fully implemented post calamities, it would most undermine Gadgil's disproportionately harms the poor claim. गलत है. Implementation would support, not weaken this claim, right? Opposition's vehemence as policy sabotage proof. Now opposition being wrong does not undermine its existence. Incorrect. Developmental trajectories unquestioned ecological cost. Yes, C is the correct answer. अगर reports implement हुई और काम की तो it will challenge the assumption कि जो इंडिया का development है उसको development must accept क्या? Unchecked ecological damage. Unchecked ecological damage. Right? So it would show growth and protection can coexist, thus it undermines the idea of unquestioned ecological costs, right? So C is the correct answer क्योंकि हमको undermine करना था. Public intellectuals expansive influence scope. Now implementation would strengthen Gadgil's influence or his ठीक है. चलो. टोन बताना है हमको. Fate of Western Ghat report. Rueful irony has disregarded prophetic warning. बिल्कुल A is correct. क्यों? Because it remains mostly on papers. क्या लिखा है? Remains mostly on paper. हमारे पैसेज में इसके बारे में लिखा है, राइट? तो ये क्या बता रहा है? इट इज और इवन आफ्टर कैलामिटीज हैव अंडरस्कोर्ड हिज प्रेजेंस देन आल्सो इट इज रिमेनिंग ऑन पेपर. इट इज शोइंग रिग्रेट, इट इज शोइंग आयरनी, right? Sadness that warning were ignored despite of proven right. So A is the correct answer. B क्यों गलत है? Vindication implies success. The report was ignored, right? Neutral chronicle. Now the language is emotional and evaluative, not neutral. Optimistic faith, not optimism about learning from calamities is shown. So no optimism at all. So D is also incorrect. Next question. Distraught means deep emotional distress, right? Most nearly means, ठीक है. Intellectual बिल्कुल उल्टा है. No excitement or intellectual stimulation, isn't it? Professionally detached, no, opposite of emotional distress. Emotionally overwhelmed with anguish, हाँ यही बात है, right? It is the contrast with normally cheerful. तो D भी incorrect. The correct answer is C. Next question. Gadgil's cultural landscape thesis implicitly assumes forest health hinges on एब्सोल्यूट एक्सक्लूजन ऑफ मिलेनिया ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन. वो तो इसका जस्ट ऑपोजिट बोल रहे हैं, मिलेनिया लॉन्ग ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन, राइट? नॉट एक्सक्लूजन. इंडस्ट्रियल रिपर्पजिंग ऑफ इकोनॉमिक इम्पेरेटिव्स, नो इंडस्ट्रियल यूज इज एक्चुअली क्रिटिसाइज्ड. प्रिस्टीन रेस्टोरेशन साइंस, एंथ्रोपोजेनिक मॉडिफिकेशन, इसका तो बिल्कुल उन्होंने बोला कि नो, दिस इज नॉट दैट आइडिया कि ह्यूमन अनटच्ड. नो, ही रिजेक्टेड दिस आइडिया. Sustained stewardship by local imperial practices, managerial practices, and yes, D is the correct answer. Why? If forests are shaped by human over time, their health depends on continued local sustainable management, not exclusion or industrial use, making D the correct answer. Next, which part of following sentence contains an error? ठीक है. The report of an environment ministry committee he headed on the Western Ghat. ठीक है, ग्रामेटिकली करेक्ट है, रिलेटिव क्लॉज भी प्रॉपरली है, ठीक है, सॉरी सही है, मतलब नॉट आर करेक्ट आंसर बट दिस इज ग्रामेटिकली करेक्ट. इट कंटेन्स नो एरर. मेड अ पावरफुल केस ऑफ डिमार्केटिंग पार्ट्स ऑफ, मेड अ पावरफुल केस फॉर, तो हमारे बी में गड़बड़ है, राइट? करेक्ट इडियम क्या है? मेक अ केस for. That means to argue in favor of something by giving reasons, by giving evidence. So yes, B has error. C and D are fine. कोई भी इसमें error नहीं है. Next question. Which feeling is reflected in this sentence? He said, I do believe that we need electricity to drive industrial progress, but surely we should not be paying environmental and social costs. Indifference है? बिल्कुल नहीं. The speaker clearly cares, right? Incorrect. Optimistic? No. Optimism would downplay the cost, right? इसलिए optimistic भी नहीं है. Concerned? Yes, because the speaker accepts the need for electricity, right? And worries about environmental and social cost. सो इसलिए क्या है? कंसर्न है. इंडिग्नेशन, कोई भी गुस्सा हमको नहीं दिख रहा है, एंगर नहीं है. द टोन इज वेरी थॉटफुल, द टोन इज वेरी रेस्ट्रेंट. तो डी इज ऑल्सो इनकरेक्ट. नेक्स्ट, साइंस हैज प्रोड्यूस्ड नो स्टैंडर्ड अकाउंट ऑफ द ओरिजिन ऑफ लाइफ. ठीक है, मतलब साइंस अंडरस्टैंड मेनी थिंग्स अबाउट लाइफ बट इट स्टिल डज नॉट नो हाउ लाइफ एक्चुअली बिगैन. ठीक है, वी हैव अ सुपर्ब अंडरस्टैंडिंग ऑफ हाउ वी गेट बायोलॉजिकल वेराइटी, right? Biological variety and different forms of living organism. So author is saying that we have good understanding, right? We know how different living forms developed once already life existed. Once life started existing, we already know, we have good knowledge, right? Now, and we know that life in its simplest form is built up out of inorganic stuff. ठीक है, यानी thanks to Darwin evolution, we also know that living things are made up of non-living materials. However, science has no explanation, right? What is primordial soup? Like early mixture of chemicals from which life may have begun. That we have no account of how life springs forth from the supposed primordial soup, right? कि वो जो early mixture of chemical है, कैसे life has begun. This is an explanatory gap between, we have no idea how to bridge. Science also lacks even a back of the envelope concept explaining the emergence of consciousness from the behavior of mere matter. Now author is saying that science has no explanation for how life first appeared from non-living matter, and this is a big gap in our knowledge and we do not yet know how to fill it, right? And just like science, just like life, science also cannot explain how consciousness comes from physical matter. Like back of the envelope, right, rough or basic explanation. We do not have even basic explanation. We lack, science lack basic explanation, right? That how consciousness emerged, how consciousness comes from physical matter, right? We have an elaborate understanding of the ways in which experience depends on neurobiology, but how consciousness arises out of action of neurons or how low level chemical or atomic processes might explain why we are conscious, we haven't a clue. So author is saying कि we have no idea कि कैसे neurons, chemical process से awareness create होती है. Science brain cells को तो describe कर सकता है, लेकिन वो ये explain नहीं कर पा रहा है कि why these processes produce conscious experience, right? This is what author is saying. So the key idea present in this particular passage is science lacks an explanation for how consciousness arises from physical processes, right? Now we lack any way of making sense of the idea that higher level phenomena just come down to or consist of what is going on the lower level, right? So high level phenomena is a complex experience like life, experience, consciousness just come down to consist of what is going on to the lower level. Lower level यानी basic physical level, है ना, chemical processes. For example, we can tell a marvelously detailed story about the way receptors in the eyes respond to light and how in so doing they set off a cascade of neural events, like the chain reaction of neural events in the brain, and we have theories that allow us to characterize these resulting neurophysiological processes as performing an information the processing task. So scientific explanation of parts do not explain the experience of reality or life or consciousness, right? The standard view is that the parts of brain dedicated to vision take the neural signals from the eyes and transform them into an internal representation of the world. What we lack is entirely absent is any plausible story about how these information bearing representational states in the brain give rise to or add up to or constitute seeing very similar problems arise. I believe when we turn our attention to life, a living cell is more than just a chemical compound, even if every part of cell even if every part of the cell is composed of inorganic elements, a cell after all is alive. What we lack, as in the case of mind, is a way of understanding how life happens due to mere combination of non-living precursors. What is precursor? Like things that exist before something else, non-living precursors. So in these lines author is saying कि same problem exists with life as well, right? एक living cell जो कि chemical से बना है, it is more than just a chemical, it is alive. राइट साइंस नहीं एक्सप्लेन कर पा रही कि कैसे नॉन लिविंग एलिमेंट कंबाइन टू क्रिएट समथिंग लिविंग, एंड जस्ट एज इट कैन नॉट एक्सप्लेन हाउ ब्रेन एक्टिविटी क्रिएट कॉन्शियस एक्सपीरियंस. ऑलराइट, नाउ वन रिस्पॉन्स to these observations about the extent of our lack of knowledge is to head back to the drawing board. Drawing board is the starting point, right? Ingenuity and collective effort, like creative thinking and collective effort is what we take to bridge the gap between our understanding of how the world works and our ability to make sense of the place of life and mind within it. And the response, that is the response set forth by the philosopher Thomas Nagel in his fascinating new book Mind and Cosmos, is to call for revolution. If we can't explain ourselves within the framework of natural science, then since we live conscious beings are manifestly natural. What is manifestly? Like we are obviously natural. There must be something wrong with the framework. We need a new one. So in these lines, author is saying that author is describing two possible responses to these unsolved problem. एक response क्या है कि हम continue करें research को and hope कि एक नया कोई idea या teamwork will eventually solve them. और दूसरा response है proposed by Thomas, right? दूसरा idea is proposed by Thomas and it is more radical, right? He is arguing कि अगर science explain नहीं कर पा रही है life और consciousness को, यानी कि जो हमारा अभी का जो scientific framework है, right, itself is incomplete या flawed है. अगर since humans are natural beings, science must change to include new principles that can explain mind and life, right? So overall the key idea presented in this paragraph is अगर science explain नहीं कर पा रही है life और consciousness को, तो हमको फिर से सोचना चाहिए और अपने scientific framework को और expand करना चाहिए, right? Moving on to the next question. Alright, coming to question number 38. The passage portrays Nagel's critique of materialist naturalism as primarily objecting to which assumption about consciousness? Alright, so option A बोल रहा है. वैसे the question is asking, it is testing our understanding of Nagel's core objection to materialist naturalism, especially about consciousness, right? So option A क्या बोलता है कि the consciousness is an illusion, बोल रहा है कि भाई ये illusion है created by linguistic confusion की बात कर रही है and therefore does not require any scientific explanation at all. बिल्कुल भी नहीं, consciousness is never called as illusion, so A is completely incorrect. That consciousness is best approached through purely introspective method. अब option B कह रहा है कि जो इंट्रोस्पेक्टिव जो अप्रोच इज इनफ, बट ऐसा हमारे पैसेज में नहीं बोला गया है. रादर पैसेज सपोर्ट्स साइंटिफिक इंक्वायरी, राइट? That consciousness, through undeniably real, can in principle be exhaustively explained in terms of physical process without altering our basic conception of nature. Yes, नेचर ने एक्सेप्ट किया कि जो कॉन्शियसनेस है वो रियल है, ह्यूमन बीइंग्स भी रियल हैं, लेकिन what he objects is the assumption कि जो consciousness है that can be fully explained by physical process. Consciousness can be fully explained by physical process, right? तो without changing our idea of natural itself, because जैसे passage is आपने याद हो कि there must be something wrong with the framework, we need a new one, right? तो according to Nagel, he is saying that this particular framework of science is not able to explain ki how consciousness feel like, right? That's why C is the correct answer. That consciousness is fundamentally supernatural irrelevant. कहीं भी consciousness को supernatural नहीं बोला गया. 39 क्या बोल रहा है? The passage implies that science's grasp of neural processes fails primarily because they emphasize information processing over subjective experience. And yes, A is the correct answer. क्यों? Because science explains receptors की बात की गई है, right? Neural cascades की बात की गई है, information processing की बात की गई है, लेकिन ये सब subject science क्या explain नहीं कर सकता? Subjective experience, what consciousness feel like, right? या what seeing feels like, आप देख करके महसूस कैसा करते हो, ये साइंस अभी एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर सकती है. एंड यस, ऑप्शन ए भी यही बात बोल रहा है, राइट? ऑप्शन बी कहता है रिसेप्टर्स इग्नोर लाइट कैस्केड्स. नहीं, बिल्कुल नहीं. साइंस डज नॉट एक्सप्लेन, पैसेज एक्सप्लिसिटली सेज दैट रिसेप्टर्स रिस्पॉन्ड करेक्टली, राइट? इग्नोर नहीं कर रहे हैं. थियरीज ओवरलुक डिपेंडेंस ऑन न्यूरोबायोलॉजी एंटायरली. नो, साइंस डज एक्सप्लेन्स न्यूरोबायोलॉजी. So C is also incorrect. Experiences arise independently of brain events. No, experiences depend on brain events. They are not just explained by them, राइट? एक्सपीरियंस को बस हम एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर पा रहे होते तो वो ब्रेन से ही इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं है, डिपेंडेंट है. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. द पैसेजेस प्रोग्रेशन फ्रॉम लाइफ टू माइंड एग्जाम्प्लीफाइज. ऑल राइट, क्या बोल रहा है? स्ट्रक्चरल आर्ग्यूमेंट क्या हमने समझा? mere combination of yielding aliveness in precursors? No, passage denies that mere combinations, जो combinations है, सिर्फ combinations are explaining life, those non-living cells? Na, A is incorrect. Superior understanding of neurobiology over chemistry? No comparison of superiority has been made, irrelevant. Plausible stories for seeing from representational states? No, passage says such stories are absent, not plausible, right? Parallel conceptual charge in reductionist account. What is reductionist account? Reductionist refers to the approach और पर्सन की कोई भी कॉम्प्लेक्स फिनोमेना को जब बहुत ही सिंपलिस्टिक तरीके से तोड़ दिया जाता है, ब्रेक डाउन कर दिया जाता है, स्पेशली इन अ वेरी ओवर सिंप्लीफाइड वे, राइट? सो डी क्या बोलता है? यस, डी इज द करेक्ट आंसर. क्यों? क्योंकि ऑथर ने साफ साफ हमारे पैसेज में क्या कहा कि वेरी सिमिलर प्रॉब्लम अराइज व्हेन वी टर्न आवर अटेंशन टू लाइफ. इसका क्या मतलब हुआ कि लाइफ एंड माइंड बोथ कैन नॉट बी रिड्यूस्ड टू देयर पार्ट्स. लाइफ एंड माइंड कैन नॉट बी रिड्यूस्ड टू देयर पार्ट्स. और दूसरी चीज, लाइफ एंड माइंड बोथ एक्सपोज द सेम एक्सप्लेनेटरी गैप, right? So D is the correct answer. Next question 41 क्या बोल रहा है? In the passage, Nagel's challenge to neo-Darwinism accounts of consciousness is best described as questioning their ability to. All right, क्या बोल रहा है? कैसे नेगल ने चैलेंज किया है न्यू डार्विनियन एक्सप्लेनेशन को? शो हाउ प्योरली फिजिकल प्रोसेसेस कुड एवर गिव राइज टू जेन्युइनली सब्जेक्टिव एक्सपीरियंसेस इन फर्स्ट प्लेस. यस, इट इज करेक्ट. क्यों? क्योंकि नेगल क्या क्वेश्चन कर रहा है कि हाउ फिजिकल प्रोसेस कैन एवर प्रोड्यूस सब्जेक्टिव एक्सपीरियंस, राइट? एंड सो दिस एग्जैक्टली द एक्सप्लेनेटरी गैप द पैसेज इज हाईलाइटिंग, राइट? Explain how consciousness could have adaptive value in specific environmental context? No, adaptive value comes later. Origin is the problem, isn't it? इसलिए B भी गलत है. Predict with high statistical accuracy with traits will be selected for in future generation of organism. No prediction of traits is discussed in the passage, making C incorrect. Provide a detailed mapping between neural structures and behavioral responses. Neural mapping already exists, subjectivity does not, right? So D भी गलत है. Next question. Which of the following does not contain a phrasal verb or idiom? ठीक है. But we don't have any account of how life springs forth from the supposed primordial soup. Now springs forth phrasal verb है, इसका मतलब to arise or emerge suddenly, यानी इसमें phrasal verb है, ये हमारा सही आंसर नहीं है. This is an explanatory gap we have no idea how to bridge. Now this is a transitive verb, right? Bridging a gap, इसमें भी present है idiom, तो ये भी हमारा सही आंसर नहीं है. गैप टू ब्रिज, ब्रिजिंग अ गैप, राइट? इडियोमेटिक एक्सप्रेशन. साइंस ऑल्सो लैक्स इवन अ बैक ऑफ द एनवेलप, राइट? ये भी है. इसका मतलब समथिंग रफ प्लान, राइट? We have theories that allow us to categorize these resulting neurophysiological processes as performing an information processing task. अब अगर हम D को देखें तो इसमें कोई भी फ्रेजल वर्ब या इडियोमेटिक एक्सप्रेशन नहीं है, सारे के सारे लिटरल वर्ब्स लिखे हुए हैं, राइट? सो यस, डी इज आवर करेक्ट आंसर. नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन. What is the contextual meaning of the idiom underlined in the sentence? Our response to these observations about the context of our lack of knowledge is to head back to the drawing board, right? So to start over from the beginning to a new plan. Yes, drawing board, initial point, start over. Yes, A is the correct answer. क्यों? Head back to drawing board means फिर से शुरू करना, है ना? फिर से beginning के बारे में सोचना, redesign the approach, making A the correct answer. To reconsider assumption entirely? No, too mild does not imply restarting. To accept ignorance and pause all progress temporarily? Incorrect, because the phrase implies action, right? To refine the current plan with small incremental changes now contradicts the idea of starting afresh, right? इसलिए D भी incorrect. Next passage. In her 8th novel, Hamlet, Maggie O'Farrell imagines the short life and tragic death of Shakespeare's only son, aged 11 in 1596. Although it is not known as Hamlet died, it is not known how Hamlet died or Farrell's attributes his death to the play. She creates a visceral and affecting portrait. क्या बता रहा है कि जो मैगी ओ'फेरल की जो नॉवल है हैमलेट, it imagines the life and death of Shakespeare's son, right? And the novel powerfully shows how quickly Hamlet becomes ill and how helpless his family, especially his mother, feels, right? She creates a visceral and affecting portrait of his swift decline and powerlessness of those around him, particularly his mother. To save him, what is visceral? Like strongly emotional and vivid. Visceral is strongly emotional and vivid. A critical and commercial success, the novel's popularity was aided by its connection with Shakespeare. तो क्या बता रही है कि जो फिल्म का adaptation है, it was released, यहाँ पर उसकी a critical and commercial success, the novel's popularity was aided by its connection with Shakespeare, whose enduring reputation as literary genius ensures that the scholar John Sutherland once asserted, where there is a will, there is a payday. The death of Hamlet is one creative trigger for this best-selling novel, but is it the main source? And was Hamlet's death really the source of Shakespeare's Hamlet? So she is saying कि जो novel है, it powerfully shows how quickly Hamlet becomes ill and how helpless his family is, and the book became very popular partly because it is linked to Shakespeare. वो एक पन दे रहे हैं कि where there is will, there is a payday, right? And the passage then asks two important questions. Was Hamlet's death the main inspiration of this novel? ठीक है. And दूसरा सवाल वो पूछ रहे हैं कि and did Hamlet's death inspire Shakespeare's play Hamlet? Right? Was Hamlet's death really the source of Shakespeare's Hamlet? With the film adaptation co-authored by O'Farrell arriving in Australian cinema this month, it is timely to consider the broader influence of O'Farrell's novel and Shakespeare's play. The inspiration are not singular in this either case. Inspiration एक ही नहीं है. Shakespeare was influenced by clear creative precursors, while O'Farrell's depiction of maternal grief is haunted by her personal experience, right? So author is saying that Shakespeare drew his source from something else. It was a creative source, it was an earlier source. वहीं पे जो O'Farrell का influence है, it was by her own personal experiences, especially her grief. So in these lines author is saying कि जो novel Hamlet है ये emotionally powerful है और popular भी है, लेकिन जो इसकी inspiration है, especially link between Hamlet and Hamlet, need closer examination. Now O'Farrell has repeatedly stated in interviews that she had two motivations for writing Hamlet. One, to rescue Shakespeare's wife Anne Hathaway from negative representation in biographies of Shakespeare. ठीक है. दूसरी बात क्या है कि to correct what she perceives as the lack of acknowledgement of the significance of Hamlet's death to Shakespeare's art. तो पहला कि वो शेक्सपियर की बीवी का इमेज improve करना चाह रहे हैं एन की, और दूसरा she want to highlight how important Hamlet's death may have been in Shakespeare's work. So her former concern manifests in her representation of Anne as quietly willful character. ठीक है. So Anne is shown as very strong and determined. She helps her husband escape his strict father and go to London, overbearing father in Stratford, to London where his career can take flight. The novel's third-person narrative is increasingly filtered through Anne's perspective as the story progresses, placing her grief center stage. In a pointed intervention, Farrell names her Agnes. This is the name she is given In her father Richard Hathaway's will, though the assertion that Agnes is her true name is problematic due to lack of other documentary sources and because spelling was variable at the time. तो क्या बोल रहे हैं कि ये as the story continues, Anne के point of view से पूरा story लिखी गई है, and O'Farrell also makes a very bold choice of calling Anne Agnes, and ये नाम एन हैथवे के फादर की विल में भी है, पर जो पैसेज है ये बता रहा है कि दिस क्लेम इज अनसर्टेन क्योंकि यहाँ पे स्पेलिंग में वेरिएबिलिटी है, right? O'Farrell explicitly encourages readers to connect Hamlet and Hamlet through two historical notes at the front of the book. The first informs us that Hamlet was staged only 4 years after Hamlet's death. The second cites Shakespeare scholar Stephen Greenblatt's claim. So, O'Farrell is encouraging readers to link Hamlet की death to Shakespeare's Hamlet, and she does this by including two historical notes at the start of the book, right? एक नोट कहता है कि Hamlet was performed only 4 years after Hamlet died. Hamlet कब perform किया गया था? Only 4 years after Hamlet died. And the second says the names Hamnet and Hamlet were often used interchangeably at the same time. Right? These selective facts serves O'Farrell fiction well, but the view that Hamlet memorializes Hamlet backstage, memorializes means serves as a tribute, right? Hamlet backstage, Hamlet is a scholar James Shapiro argues a myth, while the novel's promise to deliver the backstage story of creation of Hamlet is alluring. Its imputation that Hamlet's death, what is imputation? Suggestion or claim, often indirect, that Hamlet's death was the primary inspiration for the writing of play is countered by the historical evidence and the play itself. So in these last line author is saying कि जो novel का suggestion है कि Hamlet was primarily inspired by Hamlet का death जो कि शेक्सपियर का बेटा था, right, is emotionally appealing लेकिन historically questionable है. Alluring तो है but it is questionable, right? So this was this passage. Coming on to next question. According to the passage, O'Farrell's description of Anne Hathaway primarily aims to rehabilitate her image as willful agent who enables her husband's career escape. बिल्कुल सही बात है, यही बात तो हमारे फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ में ही हमें बता दी गई है. नहीं फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ में नहीं, लेटर पैराग्राफ में बताई गई है. So yes, Anne is represented as strong, decisive, someone who actively helps Shakespeare leave Stratford, London, इसलिए rehabilitative portrayal, right? Correct है. Portray her as passive victim of Shakespeare ambition? No, Anne is not shown as passive or trapped. She is central. Emphasize her role as mere bystander in Hamlet's tragic decline from plague? No, her grief becomes central, not marginal. Critique her decision to name their son Hamlet after local Stratford tradition? No, naming traditions are not criticized at all, so D is irrelevant. Next question. The phrase where there is a will, there is a payday, as used in the passage most nearly means Shakespeare's legal will guaranteed financial success for his family post-mortem. नहीं, misreads will as यहाँ पे आप एकदम साफ-साफ legal will की तरह उसको interpret किया जा रहा है, which is incorrect. Film adaptation of Shakespeare always yield higher profits than novels. No overgeneralization about film adaptation, which is not mentioned. O'Farrell's novels succeed mainly due to Shakespeare's bequest to his heirs. No, ये भी गलत है. क्यों? Because it incorrectly links success to Shakespeare's inheritance. That's why C is incorrect. Shakespeare's genius reputation ensures commercial viability for works invoking him, and yes, D is the correct answer. क्योंकि phrase साफ-साफ कह रहा है जहाँ will है वहाँ pay है, right? तो this means anything that is connected to Shakespeare, right, will makes money because of his lasting fame, and this describes. Option D is correctly describing it, right? Next question. It can be inferred from the passage that the author views of O'Farrell's Hamlet connection as a compelling fictional device undermined by historical evidence and play analysis, and yes, A is the correct answer. क्यों? क्योंकि author admit कर रहा है the connection is emotionally and narratively attractive, right? the connection is emotionally and narratively attractive. And दूसरी बात that the author calls it a myth citing James Shapiro and historical evidence, right? इसलिए B A is the correct answer. Fully substantiated by Greenblatt scholarship and chronological proximity. No, Greenblatt का claim तो mention है but it is not endorsed or supported, तो fully substantiated गलत. Irrelevant to the novel's focus on maternal grief and Agnes' perspective, galat hai because the connection is central to O'Farrell's aims, right? तो ये भी गलत हो गया. Proven through Richard Hathaway's will and variable Elizabethan spelling norms. D is also incorrect because Richard Hathaway's will relates only to Anne's name. सिर्फ Anne के name से relevant थी वो, इसलिए D is also incorrect. Next question, which of the following best captures the passage's attitude toward O'Farrell's use of historical note? पहला admiring, very बहुत ज़्यादा optimistic है, ऐसा था ही नहीं. As they effectively blend fact with fiction for narrative depth, ना. A is incorrect. Why? Because it is too positive. The author challenges this implication. Neutral, treating them as standard scholarly apparatus in historical novels. B भी गलत है. क्यों? Because neutral का मतलब क्या है कि author reports the notes without any judgment, but यहाँ तो भर भर के judgment है क्योंकि passage evaluates the notes, है ना, कि right, introduces scholarly disagreement and challenges O'Farrell's conclusion, इसलिए neutral तो बिल्कुल नहीं है. Skeptical अब challenge कर रहा है इतनी सारी बातें जो हमने यहाँ discuss की, तो ये C is a correct answer. Skeptical viewing them as selective facts serving her creative agenda. Why? Because passage evaluates. O'Farrell explicitly encouraged readers to connect Hamlet and Hamlet using historical notes, right? And this idea that Hamlet memorializes Hamlet is called myth by scholar James, right? So author says that the notes serve O'Farrell fiction well but are not supported by historical evidence or the play itself. So yes, author is skeptical. Author ka tone towards O'Farrell's work is skeptical. Critical, arguing that mislead readers about an documented name. Is he critical? No. Right? It misplaces criticism. The main skepticism concerns Hamlet, not Agnes. Right? Name के लिए नहीं है. तो ये D is incorrect. Next question. The passage implies that the novel's commercial success derives least from its connection to Shakespeare's enduring literary reputation. No. Shakespeare's fame clearly boosts popularity, right? इसलिए incorrect. Least से नहीं है, ये तो most हो गया. Visceral portrayal of plague-induced child mortality. No. Emotional intensity is praised, right? इसकी वजह से भी popularity थी. Scholarly validation of Hamlet as Hamlet primary inspiration. हाँ, C is the correct answer. क्योंकि बोला passage में क्या लिखा है कि जो Hamlet और Hamlet link है ये historically weak है. Even it is called a myth. इसलिए C is the correct answer. Upcoming film adaptation by Chloe Zhao. Film adaptation is described as timely and attention drawing, right? So incorrect. What is the contextual meaning of the word underlined in this given sentence? Shakespeare was influenced by clear creative precursors, while O'Farrell's depiction of maternal grief is haunted by her personal experience. Alright, warning signs of future events. Option A, nahi, it refers to warning signs, not artistic influence, making A incorrect. Chemical substance that trigger reaction. Now B is a scientific meaning, wrong context, इसलिए ये भी गलत है. Early influences or predecessors, and yes, C is the correct answer because जो creative precursors का क्या मतलब हुआ? Earlier writers, existing traditions, है ना, and influences that came before Shakespeare, right? So yes, C is the correct answer. Immediate followers or successors, no, opposite meaning. Successors comes after. Next question. Which dominant figure of speech or literary device is used in the sentence? John Sutherland once asserted where there is a will, there is a payday. And yes, हमने already passage में discuss कर लिया. It is a clearly a word play. So yes, this is pun, right? So A is the correct answer. Allusion is present but secondary. The humor depends on word play, राइट. सो allusion is incorrect. metaphor कोई भी डायरेक्ट कंपैरिजन नहीं हो रहा है. none of above तो बिल्कुल नहीं होगा क्योंकि pun clearly present है, right. So we have come to an end of this analysis session. Hope you have understood all the passages, why answers are correct and why other choices are wrong, and hope you have scored 45 plus. All the best. Stay logical with Vedic.